Two Geeks, Two Beers and a Laptop. Episode 24. 24.
Cheers.
Cheers. Well, hello, and welcome to episode 24 of Two Geeks, Two Beers and a Laptop with me, Tom, and my timeless friend, Morgan, which will make sense in a minute. It's episode 24, so there was only one thing we could do for episode 24, which is...
24.
24.
Which
followed from our James Bond episode. It's kind of a double bill of
espionage.
And,
yeah. Well, interestingly, so Bond is the longest running, one of the longest running film series of all time. Definitely the longest running spy film series of all time. 24 is the longest running TV show of all time about spies and secret agents and espionage. It beat, when it reached its 8th season, it beat Mission Impossible and The Avengers.
The Saint, of course. That was
The Saint, yeah. But 24 was very much a modern take.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, it's about Jack Bauer, who is a maverick agent who works for CTU, the counter-terrorist unit.
Which I thought was real at first. I didn't realise it was...
You thought they all had the classic ringtone.
Yeah. And every now and then you'll hear someone who's still got that.
Yeah.
Like, mate, it's not 2001.
I know. It was really cool for a little bit to have the same ringtone as CTU agents. Some people still have it. Kiefer Sutherland, of course, he played Jack Bauer, sort of a movie star in the 80s.
Sort of rogue choice at the time.
Yeah, well, his star had faded a little bit by the time 24 started in the early noughties. But then it's interesting because like now everyone's doing television. There was a period where sort of slightly faded movie stars, people like Rob Lowe, were doing television, and that I think was following in Kiefer's footsteps, because he kind of his career was completely revived by 24. Now you get like proper, no offense to Kiefer, but like movie stars still in their pomp. Kevin Spacey and people like that doing, and Matthew McConaughey, people doing TV. The lines are blurred now.
Well, I think 24 in general kind of kick-started a lot of stuff, so that's one example. But generally, just the serial drama. Really, there wasn't much. That and The Sopranos kind of helped this sort of era of this kind of binge type telly. It
definitely created the kind of the modern binge culture, I think, because
you could not stop.
No, because
once you did what I said, you can't just leave it.
So the format was that there were 24 episodes in a season. Every episode was real time, set in real time, over an hour, and so across the 24 episode season, it would take place across the course of a single day. And so because of that, because the story just kept rolling on and on and on, and there were always these amazing twists, you literally couldn't stop watching. And there was always a great cliffhanger at the end of every episode. And I don't know about you, but I always used to just like have crazy binge sessions.
I was binging before binging was a thing. Before Netflix and chill existed.
Exactly, I binged before it was cool. And I'd always, binge and have a few... We should mention what we're drinking.
I was going to say, made an effort for once.
Well, we did. Well, ironically, Innis and Gun, which was the shocking
that would have been good.
Selection for our Mega Drive episode, would have been more appropriate.
Well, we could have had Jack Daniels. We could have had Scrumpy
Jack.
But I found this is called the Jack of Clubs, which is from Wild Card Brewery, and it's a ruby ale.
Ooh,
so
nice.
let's have a... Ooh,
it's all right.
Very sort of chocolatey or coffee-ish.
It's all right.
Very nice. So yeah.
So 24 really, it was, as we say, it followed Jack's exploits. I saw him described, I quite like this, as a dirty Harry for the War on Terror.
But what first got you into 24? Like, when were you first aware that you were a fan?
So I remember my friend at school, he was into it. I think he watched it. It was on BBC Two
at the beginning. I think it was. Yeah.
Which
is weird. I can't imagine BBC having. I suppose they had. What have they had recently like that? Like
they don't really
American Crime Story.
They don't. That was a rare example. They don't really import big US dramas anymore in the way they did back then. But he'd watched it on the BBC, and then he had a VHS box set. Older listeners,
taking off an entire shelf.
Yeah. But older listeners may remember VHS box sets. They were enormous.
With 3 episodes on each.
On each tape. And then I remember I watched it and I quite enjoyed it, but that didn't really get me hooked. But then I went off to uni, and a different friend had, I think, season 3 on DVD box set, slightly slimmer. And then I watched that and burned my way through that, and then season 4. And then from that point I was hooked, and I would stay up kind of. There was a period where I sort of had a little bit of insomnia throughout uni, so I literally did, like, a few times, stay up all night watching 24, and then later on I broke out of that and became a bit more sociable. And then I would watch it with my housemates. The later seasons, we would have like 24 nights where we would play 24 drinking game and that kind of thing.
We at one point uni, one of our housemates wasn't there for a whole term, and so we turned her room into an actual fort, because it only had her boxes. It was still full of stuff, and it was our secret little room where we'd watch 24 all day.
We had one housemate who we didn't get on with. There was like a few of us, and there was one. There's always one. There was one we didn't get on with so well, and
you just don't want to be that one.
Yeah, but
you're not that.
but we weren't allowed to watch 24 without this person. That was the rule. But we always used to watch it whenever he was out. And I remember one time he came back, and we were caught, and we were like, oh no, and we heard him coming up the stairs, and we paused it, and it went bleep, 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 bleep. No, it paused perfectly on the black screen. And then he walked in and was like, all right, guys, and it was perfect.
Like, what's going on? Don't know what you're talking about.
So did you ever play the 24 drinking game?
No. Is it whenever he says damn it?
That's right. I found a clip here where Kiefer Sutherland is on Jay Leno, and he explains the origins of the game.
Oh, fantastic.
Now, I'm told that it was spring break last week, or the last couple of weeks, that college kids played like the 24 drinking game. Have you heard?
I'd heard about that,
Okay, and how does this work?
Apparently every time we do a kind of an improv thing sometimes to get out. You can't swear, obviously, on primetime television.
Right.
So I say damn it a lot.
Right, okay.
And apparently the college kids thought that was funny. And so every time I say damn it, they have a shot or a beer or whatever.
Right.
And I've tried to curtail the damn it's.
Right.
But every once in a while, just for fun, we'll go, damn it, damn it, damn it.
See if they can keep up. Keep up, yeah. Well, that's very responsible.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, the idea there was that you take a beer or a shot every time Jack Bauer says damn it. He says damn it quite a lot on the show, but because I'm a raging alcoholic and invented a podcast basically so I could drink beer, me and my friends, we had like additional rules. So it was a shot, I think, when he says damn it, but you would take a sip of your drink anytime there was a death, I think, and you would finish your drink every time there was an explosion,
some sort of nuclear.
And then we also had
was it Tony as well?
Yeah, we'll get on to Tony. The little character catchphrases. We also had, like, those were the general broad rules that applied to every season, but then we had season-specific rules that we would invent based on kind of like the tropes of that particular season. And in season 6, I remember particularly because it was drink anytime anyone says Russians, Chinese, or component, and the whole course of the season is about the Russians and the Chinese stealing a component back. It's like the Russians got the component from the Chinese took it back from the Russians. We're like, oh my god!
Should be a different drink for each word. We used to play the game where, you know, it'd be an ad break, and obviously you watch it on DVD, so you didn't have it, and it would be trying to guess the time.
We did that, yeah.
So it'd be like 1:14, and you go, right, I reckon it'll be 1:19, 30 seconds.
We did that. No, we did that. It was really complicated.
Because in an ad break, that would be when they're having a toilet break, essentially.
Exactly.
Because you never see characters having a piss. So those 5 minutes.
In season 1, they do address the fact that Jack Bauer has been up all day. Right. There's a brief scene where he like falls asleep, and then because he's holding a woman captive at the time, and she manages to escape when he nods off. Yeah. But no, that's funny because we did that, and our drinking game was needlessly complicated. Where we would pause the telly, we had little notepads. We would all write down what we thought the time was, and whoever was closest could then allocate a shot to another player. But
do you ever know what was going on in the show?
No, of course not. We were censored.
Far too. So you watch it once and get right. You watch it again, but get the plot this time.
Yeah, let's just say this podcast is going to get a little fuzzy towards the end as A, I get drunker, and B, I remember less because I was drunk.
Do you think, before we go through like each season, should we sort of go through a couple of the main characters who are in throughout the whole series?
So who was your favourite character? Because obviously the main character, a fantastic character, is Jack Bauer. Is just this rogue agent who just and he'll stop at nothing to get what he wants.
But the other reason I like him is that he's not your typical ripped sort of Arnie type or anything like that, or heartthrob or anything like that. No. He's just you can just know he's hard.
He's proper hard,
and you just don't mess with him. And he just doesn't play by the rules, but by Christ,
he does get results. Most of the
boring. I have killed 2 people since midnight. I have not slept for over 24 hours. So maybe you should be a little more afraid of me than you are right now.
Obviously, David Palmer was brilliant, the first president.
Yeah,
well,
so...
Actually, do you know what? I forget that David Palmer wasn't the president.
No, because he's in the first season, he's the character David Palmer, who is... I think he's like running for president, isn't he? So he is a senator, I think.
Yeah. You that dude! Palmer!
No, that's not me.
Yeah, it's you! Damn! Yo, this guy's running for president, dog. I seen him on TV.
Yeah? Yeah. So what you gonna do for me, Mr. President? See, that's your problem. You want everyone else to do the work. What are you gonna do for yourself?
See, man, all y'all got the same rap.
You keep going like this, and you'll be dead in 5 years.
Man, like you know my life.
More than you think.
And I love, because throughout the whole show, it's what's Keith Sutherland's intro normally?
The following takes place between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. And then sometimes events occur in real time.
But in the first season, it was on the day of the California presidential primary.
The Lord, don't need it. 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. on the day of the California presidential primary.
The following takes place between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. on the day of the California presidential primary.
Also, the first season had this really kind of cheesy voiceover intro. It'd be like, "My name is Federal Agent Jack Bauer, and this is the longest day of my life." They cut that. They got rid of that later.
I mean, I love Tony, who was kind of in the first season. You thought, because you get the feeling, you knew there was a mole.
You knew there was a mole in CTU, which was a recurring theme in 24. There would always be one of the goodies would always turn out to be one of the baddies. There was always a mole.
Tony was a right douche at the beginning.
He really
was sort of
with his little soul patch.
Didn't like Jack at all. Vice versa, and but in the end, he became like one of Jack's closest confidants and one of the best characters there was. And then
I think Tony Almeida is actually my favourite 24 character of all time. I think a couple of reasons. One, because he's not quite as good as Jack, and I always liked the underdog, so I always sort of rooted for him. And also just the whispery delivery of the actor Carlos Bernard and his little tics, because he had, as we mentioned before, he had you would also drink for this. He had catchphrases, one of which was he would always go. He's like, "Tony, I need you to get me the intel." Yeah. And then the other tick he had was, "All right." Maybe it was scripted, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's that thing where
Carlos's thing.
Maybe it's that thing where Carlos started doing it and then they wrote it into the scripts. But he would always, no matter what the sentence was, he would always end it with, "All right." And someone, of course, because it's the internet, someone has tracked down every single utterance of "all right." We're going to watch it in full. We probably will edit it down. We'll edit it down for the final episode.
Wants to bring it to me directly, all right? I want to find Habib Marwan, all right? All right, thanks. We can't afford for you to be losing focus at a time like this, all right? I'm going to do everything I can to keep him safe. All right? All right. All right. Jen, we can talk about this later. Right now, I got to go, all right? Look, we did the best we could, all right? All right. Let's leave it at that. All right?
That's my favourite one. The last is, "Let's leave it at that." All right. Leaders. Of course, Chloe O'Brien, who has been in the second most amount of episodes after Jack.
She came in season 3. And she was quite irritating. I mean, she wasn't. It wasn't like she was a loved character in that season. She was okay. She could easily have been a one-shot whatever. But then the more she came back, the more everyone just loved her. You couldn't have it without Chloe.
And she also weirdly kind of got hotter.
I know.
As the season
turned into a goth.
It's kind of like a weird crush. I have a weird crush on Marilyn Rice.
Why didn't you tell me Jack was alive?
Oh, come on. It's called national security. Okay, when we find the nerve gas and the alert level drops, we can have some chamomile tea and I'll tell you all my secrets, okay?
No one's favourite character, but we have to mention her as Kim. I mean...
I quite liked Kim.
I wonder why.
I quite liked Kim as a teenage boy.
But she was always... It got to the point where she would... in season 2, so Kim is Jack's daughter.
Yeah.
And
Well, we'll get onto this
Yeah.
later. Kim gets kidnapped a lot.
Yeah, and in season 2, she has nothing to do with anything. Isn't there one bit where she's with a tiger or something?
She's menaced by a cougar.
Yeah.
And I don't mean an older lady, an older sexy lady.
And then by season 3 or 4, they just made it, I'll just make her a CTU agent. It's like, yeah, but does she have any experience? Nah, don't worry about it. All right.
I think we all know, though, that if someone's dad works at a company, or, you know, they can get hired regardless of experience.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad. Sorry we're late. They're redirecting everyone around the UN.
It's all right. We're doing fine.
How was the zoo?
Well, to be honest with you, we've spent most of our time just going back and forth between the black bears and the polar bears.
I forgot to mention that she's going through a bear phase.
Well, she certainly knows what she wants. She reminds me of you.
That's funny. I always tell Stephen how much she reminds me of you.
Then the one character I do want to mention now, though, is Aaron.
All right, Palmer has left the suite. He is exposed.
Tell me
Find
what's
him.
going on?
If he left in one of the vehicles, it'll show up on our GPS.
Would you tell me what's going on?
We've been told to add another layer of security around your husband.
Why?
We have a very high confidence that there will be an attempt on his life sometime today.
Aaron Pierce, who for a period was the only character aside from Jack. So Chloe's been in the most episodes apart from Jack.
But he was in 1 to 7.
He was the only character apart from Jack who'd been in every season until they ruined it and then just didn't write him into season 8.
Because they kept coming up with reasons which didn't need to be in it, but they came out with a reason for him to come back. Why not do it again?
The writer's reasoning at the time for not including him in season 8 after 7 straight seasons was, we couldn't think of a good enough plot. Try harder. You're writers. That's what you paid for. Come up with a reason.
So he was just the Secret Service agent for David Palmer in the first season. Didn't even have a line in the first season.
Kind of just like a generic agent in the background.
But they liked his face. He's got a very nice face. And then he had he had one line and one scene in season 2, and then from season 3 onwards they just kept bringing him back, and he was awesome.
He was like a glorified extra who then became one of the best and most memorable characters on the show. But did you know they were originally going to kill off Aaron in season 5? And in that season there's we'll get onto this, but there's a whole plot where the President of the United States turns out to be in collaboration with terrorists. And Aaron, who's obviously this incredibly patriotic guy, he's disgusted, and he's always served the president, or Mr. President, thank you very much, Mr. President. There's a scene where the president has him tied up, hog-tied, held hostage, and he sort of says, if you come over to my side or whatever, I'll let you go, that'll be it. And Aaron refuses, and he just says, no way. And then he says, is there anything else? Charles. And he calls him by his name. And it's the ultimate diss. And because of that, apparently that was an improv from the actor Glenn Morshower, and the producers were like, whoa, he's taking it to a different level. We cannot kill him off.
So should we go through each season?
Well, one other thing I want to talk about before we move on to the kind of season by season breakdown, something else I love about 24 is the music. And the reason I love
Sean Callery,
because it's got this one incredible theme, 24. It's the music. Da, 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 da. And that's it. That's all it. Like, Callery, you wrote that, he went, that is gold. I'm taking the rest of the day off.
24 started the whole get rid of the theme tune thing, didn't it?
It did, really, with the intro's just like a... counting down, you just see the logo 24. But I love the fact that he wrote that little piece of music when I'm done. Because
that's lunch.
Because that's lunch. Because if Jack's going around kicking ass in 24, if something terrible happens, the only other franchise that does that is Rocky. I know you haven't actually seen it in the Rocky movies, have you? Which is outrageous. but it's the same thing where when he's trading and it's and then when there's sad moments, he's like Rocky and 24, the only franchises that can get away with it. Alright, so let's actually go through sort of 8 seasons, sort of 9 seasons. There's a TV movie in there somewhere. There's also a spin-off. It gets pretty complicated. There's a game which was made at sequence.
Spoilers, obviously, but it's already been spoiled by now.
Yeah, well, I don't really know who we're making this for. I mean, I keep saying
at least downloaded episode.
I keep saying Jack Bauer is. You know who Jack Bauer is, or you're not listening, or why you're listening to this episode. Right. So the first season of 24, or Day 1, as it's also known, is actually the only season to take place across the course of a single day. if you see what I mean. So every
starts at midnight.
Starts at midnight, ends at midnight. Every other season, it chronicles a 24-hour period, but this is actually the only season that takes place across a day, the day of the California presidential primary. And Jack Bauer is assigned to protect Senator David Palmer, who we talked about, great character, from an assassination. From an assassination. I'm already a little tipsy. From an assassination plot. But then Jack must also rescue his own family because his wife and his daughter are kidnapped by those responsible for the plot. And it turns out also that there's some people are trying to get revenge on Jack for a mission he did back when he was a kick-ass soldier.
We have reason to believe that by the end of the day, an attempt will be made on David Palmer's life.
An international crisis is about to explode.
First African-American with a real shot at the White House.
And counterterrorism expert Jack Bauer will have just 24 hours to stop it.
If Palmer gets hit, it'll tear this country apart.
Now, every second is crucial.
There may be an element inside the agency involved with a hit on Palmer.
Every minute counts.
You're gonna blackmail a district director?
He's got information that I need.
And every hour,
don't trust anybody.
The danger grows.
Not even your own people.
This fall,
find a shooter, Jack.
Fox presents Kiefer Sutherland in a groundbreaking new series. An entire season of television.
Who's the source?
Devoted to one.
You have no idea what you're getting yourself into here.
Unforgettable.
You've got 5 seconds.
Day 24. The clock starts ticking this fall on Fox.
Season 1 of 24, it's unusual because a lot of the time you say, first season was the best of a TV show. It never quite matched the first season.
Well, they were still, this is a particular show where you need teething, don't you? They haven't quite got...
And it's not bad, but it's not one of the greats, I would say. It's decent enough. Interestingly, I think they commissioned 13 episodes, which is odd, because I like the idea that you go, we need 24 episodes to tell our 24-hour story, and they go, 13, see how you do. Which I know is how they do things in America with network television, but it's like, no, this show definitely needs 24 episodes.
It's quite cheeky from the writers. This is the one way of getting around it, isn't it? Like, you've got to give us 24 episodes.
Well, a bit of trivia here as well, that originally they came up with the idea of doing a show that would take place every single day, 24 hours. But they originally didn't land on the sort of spy angle. They were like
a romance or something.
Yeah, they were like, what can we do over 24 hours? And it was going to be set on someone's wedding day.
Well, How I Met Your Mother did that in the end of season 9.
Yeah, and look how well that turned
Dreadful.
out. But yeah, it was going to be that thing of people getting cold feet, and they were like, that might keep people watching. But then they're like, actually, no, it needs to be like a sort of adrenaline-fueled thrill ride to keep people watching for 24 episodes across a single day. But I think the first 13 episodes, which they had clearly planned out of season 1, are actually really strong.
Right.
And they end with Jack rescuing his wife and daughter. Yeah. And from there, the season just kind of muddles along a little bit. Although, it does have... it's quite a clever moment, I think, where this villain, Victor Drazen, he's trying to get...
This is Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper, the late, great Dennis Hopper. And he's trying to get revenge on Jack, because he's a war criminal who Jack thwarted years before. And I do like the idea that when Jack spots him on I think a video surveillance camera, and he turns around and Jack's like, oh my god, it's Victor Drazen. Now that means nothing to us, but for the audience it's kind of the same reaction, because you're like, oh shit, it's Dennis Hopper. So I think that's quite clever how this big star casting, it kind of has the same impact on the audience as it does on Jack. But the thing was, in Speed, he's American, it's fine.
Yeah.
In 24, he's Serbian.
Not great.
It's not a great accent. No. There's like, we will use him as a bargaining chip. I got a little interview from the time with Dennis Hopper where he slips into his accent.
I can't really give away the plot of this picture, but let's just say he is a friend from the past. He is an Eastern European. An old acquaintance, not necessarily a friend.
You can see the interviewers at that point is going, what is he doing?
just let
him do it.
Just let him do it. It's Dennis Hopper. Just let him go for it. It's obvious as well that after those first 13 episodes of season 1, kind of. I mean, at 24 they were always. Lost gets this accusation a lot that it was making things up as it went along. Yeah. 24, I think as well. It would always suffer from making things up as it went along.
So Jack had rescued Kim and Terry, had he, halfway through?
Yeah, by this point he had rescued them. But there's the whole thing with, we talked about how there's always a mole in CTU. One of the most famous, probably the most notorious mole in 24 was Nina Myers, played by Sarah Clark, who was Jack's ex-lover, who then turned out to be working for the bad guys. But there's a whole, like, early on, that wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
She was genuinely meant to be a good guy. They didn't plan this all the way through. It was no master plan.
So if you were the actress, you'd play it differently if you'd known from the start.
Which I guess is good for the audience, because it's more convincing. It's like, well, I never suspected. Of course you didn't. Neither did the writers. But again, there's that. There's a scene where she is killed by Jack, because the terrorists have his family, and they say, if you don't kill this woman, we'll kill your family. So he kills Nina. Again, she was meant to be dead. And then later on, the writers just went, just to say she was wearing a vest. Don't worry about it. Like she was intended to be dead. They were just making it up as they went along. Okay, so then moving on to season 2, which is day 2, set 18 months after the devastating events of season 1, because Nina, of course, she captured Jack's wife Terry again, recaptured her for like the third time, and killed her. Yeah. Actually killed her, which at the time was a
very shocking.
Big shock.
Was that originally the plan?
Again, I think they made it up as they went along. They shot several endings. Yeah. One in which I think, there's definitely one in which she's fine and unscathed, which is really underwhelming. And then there's one, I think, in which she is injured and you don't know if she's dead or not. And then there's the one which airs where she's gone.
Looking back on it, I think it was the best decision, because I don't think you can have Jack with a wife.
No.
He needs to be broken and on his own and, fucked up. He needs to be like that.
Killing Terry Bauer is absolutely the best thing that ever happened to 24. And she was a little bit annoying as well. And so season 2 picks up with Jack. He's kind of, as you say, a broken man, but he must return to CTU to stop a nuclear bomb from detonating in Los Angeles. And David Palmer, who's now the president, he and Jack work together to stop terrorists who are trying to orchestrate a war between the US and the Middle East.
As the day of the California presidential primary began, my character, Jack Bauer, had no idea what he would be facing. The stakes started high with the word of a possible political assassination, and only got higher as the story developed. Jack's day began with the promise of putting his family back together, but it seemed that no matter what he did, they were being pulled further and further apart. The story of a father, husband, and government agent became over the next 24 hours the story of a man constantly trying to do the right thing, but not having the necessary means to do it. The real-time aspect of the show provided its share of challenges. In doing such a show, there had to be a constant collaboration between the writers, director, and actors. Small things that would normally be overlooked, things as simple as driving across town, now were major story points. The freedom of time was gone. But that's what added to the intrigue and tension of the entire story. Now something as small as a long red light at an intersection carried a huge amount of weight, especially if a life was on the line, which it usually was. What can you expect from the second season of 24? In a word, more. More conflict, more suspense, more of the unexpected. And with a story that's literally been ripped from today's headlines, the next day, Jack Bauer's next day, is going to keep all of us wide awake for the next 24 hours.
I think it's true that Jack only actually works for CTU in like 1 or 2 seasons, because most of the time they just bring him in like a contractor, like freelance. Jack, we need your help.
Well, it's because he keeps going rogue. He constantly goes rogue. He's always
the amount of times where it's like, get Bauer, like get bored.
Well, so the thing is as well though, they always every season, Jack, because he keeps going rogue because he's such a maverick,
and they think he's a baddie, and it's like, no, he's clearly not a baddie.
This has already
happened. Many times has he just saved your ass?
Exactly. Jack always saves the day, and they always go, he's going against,
and then there'll be a new guy in charge of CTU who's never really met him. He goes, I don't care about Jack Bauer. I know what he's done, and he's an American hero, but I'm gonna get him. No, he's on your side.
The thing is, Jack always saves the day, right?
Yeah.
And they always go, Jack, you're going against protocol. Change the protocol. Yeah. like he's always going against protocol, and he always saves the day. Change the protocol.
Yeah, it says here, Jack was only an official CTU employee for 3 of the 8 seasons. In season 1 as a CTU director, season 2 his credentials are reinstated after being inactive for 18 months, and in season 3 he's the director of field ops. But all the other ones he's just contracted as a freelance and given temporary clearance.
Just a rogue dude. Well, so some major twists that happen across season 2. Yeah. There's of course the tragic demise of George Mason, Xander Berkeley's character, who was sort of a bit of a shit early on.
He was another CTU leader, wasn't he?
He was a typical CTU chief who didn't trust Jack and didn't respect Jack.
And then he got some virus.
He got exposed to radioactivity, and he was dying. So in the end, he saved Jack. He volunteered to take a plane carrying a nuke into the desert.
Was that the first silent clock?
No, so there is a silent clock.
That's an honour to get the silent clock.
Yeah, if you get so 24 always ends with a beep, beep, beep of the clock, unless some real
fucking ridiculous,
some real shit has gone down, and then you get a silent clock, and you know it's a big deal. I'm not sure what the first one was. It might have been when Terry died in season 1.
I think there might have been something weird in the first season, which they didn't really know how to use silent clock. Have a look.
George Mason, weirdly, I don't think he gets a silent clock when he dies, but he gets it when he leaves CTU for the last time, having said goodbye to his son, knowing he's going to his death.
Yeah, the first silent clock was the very end of season 1.
Yes, with Terry's death.
And apparently she was pregnant as well. So it makes it even worse.
Oh, yes, she was. Yeah. God, that's unnecessary.
Yeah, totally unnecessary.
That's probably proof that they were making it up as they go along, because they needn't have gone that dark. One other, talking about the 24 drinking game earlier, one other rule that me and my mates had was Jack Bauer asks where it is. Right. So anytime Jack Bauer asks where something is, you have to take a drink, and you think, what are you talking about? It happens a lot more than you think. And season 2 is the worst. Is the worst culprit. This, again, someone that obviously has made a compilation of this. How many times Jack Bauer asks some variant on where is the bomb? He's hunting for a nuclear bomb, and by God, he wants to know where that bomb is.
Where is the bomb? Where's the bomb? Where's the bomb? Where's the bomb? Tell me where the bomb is. Tell me where the bomb is, or I will kill Assad. Talk to me. Tell me where the bomb is. 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 You're gonna tell me where the bomb is. Tell me where the bomb is. Tell me where the bomb is. Where is the bomb? Tell me where the bomb is. Just tell me where the bomb is. Tell me where the bomb is now. Tell me where the bomb is. Just tell me where the bomb is.
Someone tell them where it fucking is.
And that's only season 2. Season 1, where is my family? Season 3, where is the virus? Where are the vials? And then again in season 6, where is the bomb?
Where are my dragons?
Where are my dragons? Anytime Jack Bauer wants to know where something is, you also had to drink. So at this point, I feel like we should address. It actually came out a little bit later, but I feel like we should address 24 the game, because that was set in between seasons 2 and 3.
Have you ever wanted to know more about the world of 24? Did you ever wonder how President Palmer recovered from the attempt on his life? Who ran the country while Palmer was fighting for his life? Have you ever been curious why Kim Bauer started working at CTU and how she and Chase Edmonds first got together? Ever wonder how Chloe O'Brien first came into contact with the Los Angeles CTU? Ever wonder what it would be like to live 24 hours in the life of Jack Bauer? You can discover the answer to these and more questions as you experience them in 24 the game.
It came out like 3 years later when season 6 was airing, but it went back in time, which I think is a really cool thing to do, and kind of resolved hanging plot points between seasons 2 and 3. It was proper canon.
And what else was really cool was that they had all of the actors came back, even minor people like Milo Pressman, the guy who played him, came back.
And there was like one villain called Max in the second season 24 who got away, and they just never really addressed it, and then he comes back as the main villain of the game, and he meets his end at Jack's hand, and they deal with it. I think it's really
but
really
also
clever.
You didn't just play as Jack, you could play as Tony for 11 missions.
Yes,
you could play as Chase from season 3. We'll get on to
Chase.
Michelle, who was Tony's missus, you could play as her. You played as
and a capable CTU agent in her own right.
You played as Kim for one mission, and then a few other characters I've never even heard of. I'm guessing these were people from the game itself. But did you know a cameo in 24 the game? Chris Moyles.
Chris Moyles?
Yes, he was like a model for one of the baddies in it. I'll show you a photo now.
That does look like Chris Moyles.
It does look like Chris Moyles. And so a character called Carr, but he was voiced by Alan Dale.
Wait, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. So I assume Chris Moyles was in the game.
No, just his likeness. Because I think...
Right. Chris Moyles, the radio DJ, famously not a looker. They're like, we'll take his face, but not his voice.
I think it's because Kiefer was a guest on the show. You know, like how Stephen Merchant was in 24 once?
Yeah.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
I think it's like this, where he just did it as a favour.
But what? Just his face?
Yeah.
But wait, and he was voiced by Alan Dale.
That's what it says.
Of Neighbours fame and 24 and the OC and
was he in
Ugly Betty.
He was in 24.
He's in 24 as a different character in season 2.
So that's what it says here.
Bizarre. Blow my mind.
But yeah, it was good. It was actually a really good game at the time.
Well, it got mixed reviews. It actually got a BAFTA though, or a BAFTA nomination for its
voice acting,
for its screenplay. But I like that they made an effort. So many tie-in games are just lazy cash-ins, and that they actually went, what can we do here that's interesting? Oh, we've got a few
because the Lost game was dreadful. It was really bad.
There was a game of the Shield as well. My favourite TV show of all time.
A crap game, but nah.
So now on to season 3, day 3. Now, this is again set 3 years later. Later on, I'm going to try and tally up how much time
it doesn't make any
spans
sense.
Across 24, because I'm pretty sure Jack...
2040 by now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like 24 years across the whole run of 24. So season 3 is set 3 years later, and it starts off with Jack. He's infiltrated a Mexican drug cartel. And that's sort of the plot, and that covers the plot of the early episodes. One of the most memorable aspects of that plot is that in order to kind of maintain his cover, he had to do heroin. Notoriously, like, the most addictive drug. And
just got through it.
Because he's Jack Bauer, there are literally scenes where he mans off heroin. So, like, he's going to inject himself, and then he just throws the needle away and just goes, just mans off the heroin.
Next scene, fine.
Yeah, he's absolutely fine.
And the time for that.
And then later on in the season, there's a terrorist called Stephen Saunders, played by Paul Blackthorne, who gained possession of a deadly virus and blackmails Jack and Tony.
Kiefer Sutherland in one of the most critically acclaimed series on television.
I didn't lose a year of my life to arrest some drug dealer. Salazar does business with terrorist cells around the world. Bringing them down is our only objective. Are we clear?
I'm concerned about you, Jack. The things you did to get me here, I wouldn't wish on anyone. Let's face it, you'll never be the same. I'm about to name names, Jack. That makes me happy. Because you see, we are connected now.
Son of a bitch.
Open the door! It's on you, Jack! What happens next is on you!
On October 28th.
Do it!
The first wave of attack will be terror.
I think the Kyle Singer might have been infected.
The last line of defense will be him.
Just do it now!
24, the season premiere, October 28th on Fox.
Chloe was introduced, as we said earlier, but also Chase.
They kept trying across 24 to introduce these characters who are kind of like Jack's apprentice or mini Jack or like Jack in training.
James Badge Dale has now since gone on to do quite well for himself.
He's not a bad actor, James Badge Dale, but the character is so wet and dull.
I think they wanted him to be this cool, hip young dude, and he never really quite caught on. I'm surprised they never tried to bring him back at some point, just for the hell of it.
But you were talking about how Jack Bauer is not a traditional leading man.
Yeah.
He's not this sort of just clean-cut, good-looking, boring. Chase is what 24's lead would be if they were less imaginative.
Exactly.
One little bit of trivia for season 3 I liked is that, as well as obviously just doing some heroin, Jack had like a really intricate tattoo on his arm to maintain his cover. And Kiefer Sutherland, because he's such a hard nut himself, he's like, I'm not going to be in the makeup 24 hours on end. Just got the tattoo. Just got it. Permanently. What do you mean he's still... I guess he could have had it laser removed. But no, I think he just like permanently marked his body because he wanted a lion.
It's like, fuck it. I don't want to have early mornings.
Yeah.
So just do the tattoo.
Extreme living with Kiefer Sutherland. But of course, at one moment that everyone always talks about in day 3 is the death of Chappelle.
Yeah.
Chappelle was just another CTU boss.
Such a
douche.
But this was the first moment with 24 for me that you'd have shocking moments, even with Terry's death. But this was the moment which actually, like, still to this day, but at the time especially, it affected me.
You have a quiet moment.
I did, because what happened,
Well, we talked about Stephen Saunders, who is this terrorist. He's got this virus, and he blackmails, he kidnaps Michelle and blackmails Tony, who they're in a relationship, and he blackmails Tony into doing his bidding. He also, because he has the virus, he blackmails Jack into doing his bidding. And then he basically says...
I've never got anyone to do my bidding.
You need to, acquire some sort of terrible virus. That sounded weird. He orders Jack to kill this guy, the boss man of CTU, Ryan Chappelle.
And at the time it was like, he has to, because he's proved that he'll do it.
If he doesn't do this, Saunders the villain will kill hundreds of people. Yeah. So Jack has to do it. But I was watching it going, he's always going to find a way out. Of course he will. Even though people had died in 24 before, like Terry, I was sort of like, that's just... Because, I don't know, it's too much of like a loss in terms of like, he just made Jack do that. And he does.
Yeah, and
he just kills the guy. Like executes Chappelle, who... you never really like. But then you like
that.
Jesus.
Yeah. It really affected me for ages. Yeah. Just sort of thinking about the ramifications of it. Because this isn't like a HBO dark, adult thing. It's prime time, normally should be technically family friendly. There's no swear words in 24, as we said earlier. No. And yet that happens. Yeah. And it's like, bloody hell.
Well, most seasons of 24 will either end on a sort of a bit of a grim note or a cliffhanger of some sort. Season 3, Jack just gets into a car and cries.
Yeah.
And
amazing acting.
It's incredible. It's incredible. But he just sort of goes, fuck me. He just has a bit of breaks down because he's had a horrible. I mean, he's had horrible days before, but really tough time of things. And he just has a bit of a cry and then deals with it and moves on. Yeah. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Season 4,
day 4. Again, set 18 months later. We will tally all this up at the end.
Yeah.
Jack is no longer at CTU because they found out he was addicted to the heroin.
Oh, right, okay.
Doesn't matter, but again, he's an American hero. They're like, no, drug addiction, you're out. Yeah. Get some new boss to come in, kick him out. So he now works protecting the Secretary of Defense, James Heller, and Heller's daughter, Audrey Raines, who, yes, Jack is...
kickity-goo.
Stooping. Yeah. Shouldn't be doing that. Then, of course, because Jack Bauer has the worst luck, Heller and Audrey get kidnapped by terrorists. Meanwhile, the terrorist... There's a lot of terrorists in the show. Habib Marwan, he is using the Heller family kidnap as a ruse, as a disguise, to launch further terrorist attacks across America.
There was some chatter this morning about a possible attack.
Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Jack.
What's happening with the suspect?
Unfortunately for you, Jack, it's our problem, not yours.
I know this guy.
What are you doing?
What's your login ID for Interpol overnights?
I'm not comfortable with this.
Chloe, please.
You're in.
Something's gonna happen at 8. I have information that you ignored about a larger hit that's supposed to take place this morning at 9. I need you to reinstate me.
You don't give me orders, Jack.
You're making a mistake.
Jack!
What is your primary objective? What is your primary objective?
Now, as the enemy becomes more unpredictable,
what we will accomplish today will change the world.
Look at this. You gotta tell somebody.
As the world grows more dangerous,
everyone's dead, and now they're trying to kill me.
So does he.
This isn't a field ops call, Jack. We need authorization.
This January.
Authorities are not saying whether this was an accident or a targeted attack.
It all comes down to one man.
I want to visualize a location.
Keeper Sutherland in the most critically acclaimed series on television. 24, the 2-hour season premiere, Monday, January 3rd at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
America's had a horrible time in this world, isn't it? Like, more than in real life, which is,
Which is saying something.
Yeah.
My favourite, it's not even really about this season in particular, it's sort of a tangential anecdote, which is, I ever told you the story about the guy on the tube who loved Arnold Vosloo. Where,
did we mention this before?
I don't think we did. Maybe we mentioned it in our Freaky Franchises episode with the Mummy.
It's worth bringing up again.
The Mummy and the Scorpion King, where I can't remember why it came up, but I was on the tube with a work colleague, and we were talking about the actor Arnold Vosloo, who plays Habib Marwan, who's the main villain in Day 4. And this guy just goes, and bless the guy, he was lovely, but I think he might have been a bit off.
Right. Okay.
And he came up to us and he was like, he's talking about Arnold Vosloo. And we were like, yeah. And he's like, favourite actor of all time. This guy's favourite actor of all time. No, I mean, he's fine, but his favourite actor of all time was Arnold Vosloo. And
even Arnold would be like,
yeah, he'd be like, mate, really?
But one, I like the idea that this guy's really shy, but never in his life has anyone talked about. And
he was so excited.
He had to talk about it.
He couldn't hold it in.
But also, we have a running gag, Morgan and I, about no one's favourite actor. He's the ultimate no one's favourite actor, but no, proved wrong.
Yeah.
He's someone's favourite
actor. This guy,
he
was fully into it. He loved him in 24, he loved him in The Mummy, he loved him in the Darkman sequels where he replaced Liam Neeson. This guy was like the ultimate Vosloo nut. He was a Voz lunatic. It just came out like that. Voz lunatic. The one and only. Alright. Pushing on. So we're at season 5 now, day 5. Again, set 18 months later.
So we're now in, what, 2019
I have no idea. We'll tally it up at the very end. So Jack Bauer is believed to be dead because at the end of season 4, for reasons too complicated to go into here, he had to fake his own death. Right. So at this point he's in hiding, but bringing him out of hiding is 3 of his closest friends and allies are murdered, and he is framed by terrorists for the crime. Meanwhile, some bad guys acquire some deadly nerve gas, and they threaten the US with intoxication, and not the good kind.
When you hang up, for all intents and purposes, Jack Bauer's dead.
Last season, he staged his own death to stay alive. Now, what could possibly bring America's most dangerous counter-terrorist agent out of hiding?
How'd you get this number?
What's going on here, Frank?
My name's not Frank. It's Jack Bauer.
24.
And it starts off pretty shocking.
Well, so one of the way this season kicks off, as you mentioned, these terrorists target Jack's friends and allies to bring him out of hiding, and they kill off 3. Well, initially they kill off 2 pretty major 24 characters. They kill off Michelle Dessler, who we talked about, and they also kill off David Palmer.
And a really kind of anticlimactic kind of...
Well, I have an issue with this, mainly, I mean, the way it plays out in the season, it works. It does work. It's a good twist for the season. Maybe, as we said, maybe there wasn't that much more to do with David Palmer, and they thought, okay. But it's the thing of the whole point of the first season of 24 was to save David Palmer from assassination, and then he gets killed in season 5, and it's a bit like, well, that's pointless then. What did you do? What did you do all that for? All of season 1 is rendered moot by the beginning of season 5, and it just kind of retroactively.
Yeah,
it's like how we talked about Halloween. The Halloween films, how Jamie Lee Curtis is finally killed by Michael Myers in Halloween Resurrection. It's like, what did I watch Halloween 1 and 2 for then?
What is the point?
Where it's like the whole point is she survived and she escapes. And then if it happened, what did I watch that for? Friday the 13th Part 2. The first scene, the heroine from the first film gets killed. It's like, what did I watch the first one for?
Yeah.
It's just a bit mean.
I just don't like it in general where a main character that you love has a horrible death. Even in Grey's Anatomy, the amount of characters that you love have a horrible time. Like, it kind of ruins the whole legacy of the show. Because you're not going to watch the whole box set now, because you're like, well, no, that happens.
And so, it taints the older episodes, because you always know that the grisly end is coming. So they killed off those 2 characters. Tony Almeida, my fave, he was meant to be killed off as well. Again, this is an example of 24 making up as they went along. He was meant to die in the same explosion that Michelle was killed in. They then went, no, let's not kill Tony. Let's give him a huge plot in this season.
Right.
And Carl's just like, all right, sounds great. All right. Yeah, sounds great, yeah. And so he was meant to go on like this mission of vengeance where he goes after the guys who kill Michelle, great. And then they were like, actually, we haven't got time for that. So too much else going on. So then they do then kill Tony, but he has a really kind of just underwhelming death. Again, very mean-spirited, where he's killed by the same person who killed his wife. And it's
but
just,
without even a silent clock or anything.
And he doesn't get the silent clock, which at the time was very, very controversial amongst fans. But do you remember one character who I believe does get the silent clock? Edgar.
So they got the virus going off.
So Edgar was this character who, again, if you've never seen 24 and you made it this far, well done.
A rotund man.
He was, but he was this kind of like adorable guy. He was like the nicest, sweetest man ever. He would always sort of try and be nice to Chloe. And she was always, she secretly loved him, but she was always not like a romantic love, but she sort of, they were secretly best mates, but she would never admit it, and she was always a bit mean to him, and he was so lovely. And then CTU is targeted by terrorists, and they unleash this deadly nerve gas in CTU. He goes off to rescue another agent, I believe, as I recall, and then everyone else is shut off in
quarantine.
Quarantine.
But he's so loads of people died,
and you sort of forget. You're like, oh, they're all safe.
And then he appears,
and you see him on the other side of the glass,
and it's like Chloe.
That's the worst bit, where he goes, Chloe, in his little voice, and then he dies, and it's so mean.
I think the reason it was so shocking with him was that you never thought he'd die, because he's not going to be in the field, so why would he ever die?
I remember with Edgar's death, because again, me and my friends would watch it and play the game and so on, and we would always take the piss out of him a little bit, be like, oh, Edgar, he's such a sack, he's so useless, he's such a sad sack. And then that episode happened, and we were like, not Edgar, my boy Edgar, you can't kill Edgar. We were furious, we suddenly switched. It was like Chloe, we were like, we loved him really, you don't do that, horrible. One thing, sort of, it has the ultimate character. He actually becomes the president in season 4, but the ultimate like love to hate character, President Charles Logan in 24, who is. First of all, just seems like a ridiculous, incompetent Richard Nixon style character. And every time there was Mike Novick. Remember Mike Novick in 24, who was
David Palmer's
right-hand man. Later became sort of the sort of unwilling right-hand man to Logan. And it's just all these scenes where he's like, "Oh, Mr. President, the terrorists have attacked. Fix it, Mike!" That was his catch. Fix it, Mike! That's all he would
ever say. He'd always talk by bending his neck over. So he was sort of leaning in, like horizontal almost. Just going, "What are you going to do about it, huh? What are you going to do about it, huh?" Terrifying. Amazing.
Amazing. And then he actually turned out to be the big... I mean, sort of the big villain, but he was actually being manipulated by the terrorists.
He was just a weed, wasn't he?
And he was just a bit of a
wetty,
bit of a wetty, bit useless, bit spineless. But that was a hell of a twist when it turned out he had kind of sort of been part of orchestrating the day's events and all these terrorist activities. Absolutely brilliant.
I know you're good at extracting information. I know that you're good at torture. I saw what you did with Walt Cummings. I think you'll be surprised to find out that I'm a little tougher than that.
Take a seat. Chloe, it's Jack. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jack.
I want to make sure that you have good reception.
Who are you talking to? Are those your friends at CTU? You know you're putting them in danger as well.
Coming through fine, Jack.
Okay, good.
My people can't be far behind, Jack. There's still time to get away. Take it.
The plan involving the Syntox nerve gas was designed to fool the terrorists and the Russians. Whether or not you formulated the plan is irrelevant. You authorized it.
You're delusional.
David Palmer uncovered evidence of this plan. When he started asking questions, he was assassinated. Other people were killed to cover that murder up. Men and women who served this country with distinction. People that I worked with, friends of mine.
No, you're wrong. This is all a pack of lies.
The terrorists discovered your deception, and they deployed Syntox nerve gas on American soil. Every American who died today as a result of terrorist activity is another murder that you're accountable for. And before you leave here, you're going to admit it.
Suppose if you hurt me enough, Jack, I'll say whatever you want. But that won't make it the truth. And everybody who watches this will know that perfectly well. A man will say anything under torture. This won't mean a thing.
Mr. Logan, I'm not going to torture you. But you are going to tell me what I want to know. Or so help me God, I will kill you.
Right.
Season 6.
On to season 6. Day 6.
Not good?
Set... Or rather arbitrarily set 20 months later.
20?
Already I'm annoyed.
Precisely 20.
Yeah. In which Jack had... So in season 4, he had invaded a Chinese embassy, which he shouldn't have done, but it was for the good. It was for the good of America.
A couple of people got killed.
Yeah, but it wasn't Jack's fault. It wasn't Jack's fault. And then at the end of season 5, that was why he had to fake his own death, because the Chinese were after him.
Right, okay.
At the end of season 4.
Now.
Keeping up. Then at the end of season 5, obviously because he'd come out of hiding, the Chinese, led by Cheng, who is an amazing villain. And,
you spoke to this guy. Yeah.
I did speak to Cheng. Like, he was absolute horrible shit in the show. Really nice in real life. I didn't expect him to be like, a terrorist.
Yeah.
But he was absolutely lovely. But Jack is captured, and then in season 6, he's finally released from Chinese prison as part of a prisoner exchange. But then terrorists set off a bomb in LA, and then Jack has to fight the Chinese, and then there's a whole thing with a component, and the Russians and the Chinese are fighting for the control of this component, and I don't even know. Season 6 is a hot mess.
Your president has paid a great price for Mr. Bauer's freedom. What you want from him must be very important.
For the last 11 weeks, our cities have been targeted by a series of terror attacks. We're asking you to sacrifice yourself.
The things that they're talking about doing, this country will never recover.
Do you understand the difference between dying for something and dying for nothing? Today, I can die for something.
The 2-night premiere event this January.
So there's no nuclear holocaust, even though there's a bomb that went off in LA.
Right. So
I've seen Threads. Threads didn't happen in 24, did it?
No, it really didn't. Do you know what, though? The first 4 episodes of season 6 are pretty good. Jack comes out of prison and he's like, even more broken than he ever was.
He's like James Bond in Die Another Day.
Yeah, except done well. And then at the end of episode 4, this nuclear bomb, and again, it's that kind of Chappelle thing where you go, well, obviously the bomb's not going to go off. We've seen this before. Yeah. Jack will find a way. And then the bomb does go off. And it is really good. Yeah. That you're like, oh shit, the bomb went off. And it's really well done.
Loads of people died.
Yeah, Jesus, that's incredible.
That escalated quickly.
And then they went, yeah. I was... you can imagine at the time, they were like, wow, you just detonated a bomb in LA.
If you're ever going to fast forward 20 months, that's when you do it.
Yeah, right. But you can imagine at the time the writers be like, whoa, you just detonated a nuclear bomb in LA. What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
They just didn't know what to do. So for the rest of the season, they just kind of ignore it and literally work around it. Literally. So there's scenes where characters driving through LA and they're like, can't go through here. Nuke. It's like it's a traffic collision. It's like, no, you're gonna drive around the fallout zone.
Someone dropped a nuke here. Yeah. No.
Oh, that's gonna be late. That's gonna make my commute twice as long. That's really inconvenient. Jeez Louise, what a day. They really don't know what they're doing in season 6. They just don't. So Wayne Palmer, who by this point is David, can't just laugh at his name. Wayne,
I'm just remembering him. Oh, ludicrous character.
David, you need to think about your administration. That was one of our roles in season 3 when he was, I think he was David Palmer's vice president, right. And or chief of staff or something. Every time he said administration, you had to drink because it was David. You got to think about your administration.
He's the Shaft president, isn't he?
Yes. He's the president in this season.
Yeah.
He gets really badly injured in a terrorist attack, slips into a coma. You never find out what happens to him. They never tell you. And it's like, do you want to resolve that Wayne Palmer storyline at any point? Apparently, in a DVD, sometimes you used to get DVD booklets and that kind of thing. One of those for the next scene just goes, oh yeah, he died.
What?
Yeah, Wayne Palmer died.
What?
And they didn't even reveal it in the next season, or in a video game, or in a webisode or anything. It was just in the DVD inlay. That's how
I don't trust that as official canon, to be honest. That could have just been some guy going rogue.
Yeah, I'm sure they can go back on that. Everyone are desperately bring back Wayne Palmer. But again, apparently the finale of season 6, they were originally going to bring back Tony Almeida, bring him back from the dead, right. And then they went, no, let's not do that. So that got scrapped. Do you remember there's a character, one of the big things in season 6 is they introduced Jack's family. And introduced Jack's dad, who's played by Farmer Hoggett from Babe. Who was, apparently there were considerations of having Donald Sutherland play Jack Bauer's father, but apparently he didn't want to do it because Jack's dad and Jack are at odds, and he only wanted to do it if he and Kiefer could be buddies on screen.
And his brother, did you mention that?
Graham Bauer.
Yeah.
Played by...
What's his name?
No, he's in...
RoboCop.
He's in RoboCop.
Yeah, he's the baddie.
He's a baddie in RoboCop. Yeah. In which RoboCop is played by Peter Weller, who is Henderson from season 5, is the guy who orchestrates the big plan.
Yeah, killed Tony.
He almost killed Tony. Or did kill Tony. We haven't got there yet. Tony's dead. Spoilers. So, but there's this character, Josh Bauer, who is Josh Bauer, who is Jack's nephew,
right?
Who is the son, obviously his brother's son. They meant that to be Jack's son, and it turned out that Jack had an affair with his brother's wife, and they were like, okay, yeah, that's gonna happen. Then they went, actually, no, let's not do that. Let's make him Philip Bauer, Jack's father. Let's make him his son, so he's secretly Jack's brother. And then they apparently got to the finale and went, we've run out of time, just let's not do it at all.
What?
So after all that, he then just was Jack's nephew, and the whole character was kind of pointless. They considered 2 twists, ditched both of them, and then did nothing.
You had 24 hours, you still didn't have time. What are you doing?
It is a race against time.
Stop faffing about.
Notoriously, it is a race against time. Next, they had more time than they expected.
The writer's strike.
Exactly, the writer's strike. We could probably do an episode of 2 Geeks on the writer's strike and how it fundamentally changed so many TV shows, many US TV shows. But so the writer's strike happened when they were making actually season 7 of 24, which then pushed it back, and so they made a little TV movie, 24 Redemption, to bridge the gap in between season 6 and 7.
This is an historic day marking the swearing in of America's first female president.
You're going to be the most powerful person in the world.
Our embassy in Sangala just got word of an imminent coup.
The order came down from the president. We're rolling up all U.S. nationals.
You are now soldiers in the People's Freedom Army.
This fall, history will be made.
Our involvement could avert a genocide.
A new enemy will rise.
We're taking back our country.
And the only hope to stop him disappeared.
I think they're headed for the school.
Until now.
Retreat now, move!
My fellow citizens, we all share the responsibility. Our future depends on it.
Open the gate!
Kiefer Sutherland returns in 24.
Why were they allowed to make this then?
I think they sort of did it once the strike was over,
right?
But then they could air one episode because a lot of other shows did a thing where they would air the episodes they had already written and then go on a hiatus for ages. That doesn't really work for 24 because of the continuing narrative. So what they did was they went, right, we'll push back the intended premiere of the season so we have more time to write the rest of the season, but to fill the gap we will then do this this TV movie. What I liked about it as well was that it was Jack in a different scenario, so he wasn't just in America and very specifically
he was in Africa, wasn't he?
He was it was set in a fictional country, but it was filmed in Cape Town. And just seeing Jack in that different environment with different villains and like landmines and all that kind of thing, it was great. I would definitely watch like a prequel series that was him, like young Jack and young Robert Carlyle kicking ass together. It'd be amazing. All right, so on to another cracker.
I love season 7.
I love season 7.
It was what you'd consider a reboot, really, wasn't it? Because it totally changed how it was set.
Changed what they call a soft reboot, where it was changed location.
CTU didn't exist as well.
No, it was from Los Angeles to Washington DC. CTU disbanded, so Jack was working with the FBI. Initially, not that many of the characters you're familiar with.
Well, they brought in new characters and they were all good characters. They weren't like, ugh, who's this?
Yeah.
And then Chloe came back and
Bill Buchanan,
who we haven't mentioned. Silver Fox.
He was Silver Fox, the deep timber voice. Right? So set just 65 days, the shortest gap ever after redemption. Jack must assist the FBI when the firewall for America's federal computer infrastructure is breached. It was very trendy at that time. So at the same time, like Die Hard 4.0, where everything was about hackers hacking, they can take down America with a laptop. We have laptops. We have 2 laptops.
We can't hack anything.
You can't do shit. and then Jack must also uncover corruption within the administration of the new president, President Taylor. And there's also some biological weapons on American soil, because it wouldn't be 24 without weapons and terrorists on American soil.
Let the record show this is the 3rd day of this Senate hearing investigating human rights violations by the recently disbanded counter-terrorist unit. Will the witness please state his name?
Jack Bauer.
Mr. Bauer, did you torture Mr. Haddad?
Don't expect me to regret the decisions that I have made. Because, sir, the truth is, I don't.
Benjamin Juma has slaughtered over 200,000 of his own people. That number will continue to grow if we don't stop him now.
Emmy Award winner Kiefer Sutherland.
The FBI has been compromised. There's a leak.
They've got a shooter on top of the Columbian building heading south.
In the most critically acclaimed series on television.
Get up!
So help me God, I will kill you, and you will stay dead this time.
24, the 2-night premiere event, begins Sunday, January 11th on Fox.
So you have these the presidents of 24. Mm-hmm. You have Palmer, who kind of set the standard, incredible. You have Logan, who is brilliant, but in a completely different way, in a sort of villainous way. What do you think of President Taylor?
I thought she's really good.
Yeah, I like her.
And again, set in the scene of a female president. The same sort of distance between years of Obama and Palmer. And now potentially Hillary Clinton.
Well, Palmer foreshadowed Obama. Yeah. Please God, let's hope that President Taylor foreshadows President Clinton.
Yeah, well, they didn't really have a Trump-type president ever, did they?
No, because all the villains in 24 were cunning.
Yeah. and had brains.
And clever, and had complicated plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
no president has ever actually been re-elected, ever.
Because most of them get killed.
Yeah, so David Palmer didn't run for re-election. John Keeler was the one on the plane.
Yeah, in season 4, again, there's a president who gets shot down.
Yeah.
And Air Force... This is the scene where Air Force One gets hit. There's a cliffhanger in one of the episodes. Was Air Force One just hit? Was Air Force One just hit? That's another story where I was at work. My girlfriend at the time texted me because she'd been catching up on 24.
Spoilers?
No. I'd already seen the season by this point. She was catching up, and she texted me saying, "Oh my God, Air Force One was just shot down." And I was like, texting back going. And I turned on the radio at my work. I was like, nothing on the news. And I texted being like, is Obama okay? And she was like, no, on 24. I was like, what are you doing? And that's why I broke up with her. It's not.
So yeah, John Keeler and Wayne Palmer were incapacitated.
Again, they didn't really reveal what happened to Keeler.
Charles Logan was arrested and removed from office.
Yeah.
Noah Daniels just lost to Alison Taylor.
Yeah.
And Alison Taylor and James Heller, who we'll get to in a minute, just resigned.
If you were president in the 24 universe, I think being commander-in-chief for 4 years would be more than sufficient. So one of the big things, though, in season 7, of course, is the return of Tony Almeida. Must have been 24's most ludicrous moment of all time, but I loved it, was they bring Tony Almeida back from the dead.
They Harold Bishoped.
They Harold Bishoped Tony Almeida and said he wasn't really dead. He was dead for 3 minutes or something, and then he got revived and by mercenaries, and then he became a mercenary for a bit. And
Fast and Furious nicked this with Letty.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same thing.
Exactly the same.
She got rescued by some mercenaries, lost her memory, and then carried on.
This is what I like though. Tony didn't lose his memory. He just became a bit of a dick because his wife had just been killed, and he was like, "Well, I'm not protecting the government in this country anymore. I'm going to go a bit rogue."
But what I didn't like about it was it looked like at one point, he was a double agent.
Yeah.
He's fine. He was actually doing it to take them down, but then it was revealed he was a double agent, and he was actually a dick all along.
Yeah. No, this is my thing. I did not like Tony flip-flopping, because what I liked was the fact that it's a bit predictable that he seems like a villain. Not really. He's an inside man. But even when he's an inside man, it was like, but he still did some bad shit, and he did kind of go a bit rogue, and it was like, it was murky, and it was nice. It was like, he's sort of on the side of good, but actually he did some really bad stuff. So it was still kind of, it wasn't clean cut, and I like that. But then they just went, no, actually he's just a villain.
Yeah, because he killed, what's his name?
He kills Larry. He's like a lovely man who works for the FBI. And I feel like they kind of character assassinated Tony a little bit. But season 7, fantastic, has a great sequence of episodes where there's a siege on the White House.
Yeah.
Remember this, where terrorists take control
it's
of the White House. Utterly ludicrous.
But brilliant.
But brilliant. And it's where Bill Buchanan sacrifices his life.
Yeah. The president gets slapped.
She does.
Who is he?
By Tony Todd's character.
Yeah.
The villain.
Yeah, just gets slapped in the face.
Yeah. And it's like when you slap the president, you know Jack's coming for you. but season 7, of course, we should mention, introduces another quite key character in 24 lore, Renee Walker.
Yeah.
She's Jack's FBI handler, and later, his love interest. And then she kind of gets, it's sort of almost like infected by Jack and becomes almost like a dark.
But you know what I didn't like? I don't know if you're going to bring this up anyway, but in season 8, when she comes back, she's somehow had the time, because at this point she's all fucked up, to have infiltrated this gang of, was it Russians or whatever, and to the point where she was dating this guy and she knew all about everything. She learned Russian. She was like, really? She had all that time to do all that?
We've established the time frame on 24 is pretty screwy.
Because she definitely didn't do that before season 7.
No.
She was a goody two-shoes FBI.
The whole point is that kind of Jack's influence turns her a bit bad. She kind of becomes a female Jack.
I don't buy it.
The time frame is screwy.
So on to season 8 now.
Yes, the end, sort of.
Yeah. Season 8 had its moments.
Do you know, for me, it's not the worst season of 24, but it's the most season of 24. It's just, it's the one I remember the least.
Being a bit of a chore.
I just think it's just a bit forgettable. It's a bit boring.
All I remember is it's got the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire man from
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
Who do you know?
Yeah.
He later played. There was an Indian remake of 24 called 24 India.
Anil Kapoor.
He played sort of the Jack Bauer equivalent. But I love that he gets it on 24 and was like,
I'll do that full time.
I like a bit of that action. I'll do that.
I want to be in the Indian version. All right, yeah, you can play the same character. Oh no. Oh no. I'm being Jack Bauer. Yeah, but you're not really like fit and healthy. You can't really. Oh no. I was in Slumdog Millionaire, bitch.
You use that Slumdog weight, not literally weight. I mean, like his power, his.
Well, he's an attractive chap.
He is, but
still, he's not really Jack Bauer.
He's not really Jack Bauer. So Jack is brought in by CTU purely on a temporary advisory basis to uncover a Russian plot to assassinate this Islamic leader, played by Anil Kapoor, while there's peace negotiations going on between the US, led by President Taylor, and this fictional Islamic State, led by Kapoor's characters, Omar, Hassan. Meanwhile, the Russians are also bringing a dirty bomb onto American soil. And
where's the bomb?
Where's the bomb? And
why is it so dirty?
That's not actually what a dirty bomb is.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Jack, meanwhile, he's going increasingly rogue. Like, he's always rogue. He's always a maverick, but he goes even more so.
Jack?
You're supposed to call me Grandpa.
You don't look like a grandpa.
Couldn't agree with you more. Listen, I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about. I want to move back to Los Angeles with you.
Dad, I don't know what to say.
Come here. What are you doing here? I have information. There's a big hit going down. I don't work for the government anymore. This you're gonna want to hear. President Hassan at the UN. He's getting taken out. Today.
Jack Bauer's on line 3.
Bauer. You need to pay attention to this.
Get out!
On January 17th,
I'm transporting an informant vital to national security.
the Emmy Award-winning series returns
Go! Go! We're under attack. We are code red.
with a 2-night, 4-hour premiere event.
This is going down now. Innocent lives are at stake.
Kiefer Sutherland,
This is over!
You're lucky I'm retired.
24. A new day begins Sunday, January 17th on Fox.
There was another guest, well, not a guest star, like a main star.
Series regular.
Season 8.
Yeah.
Who, for a while, they were thinking if they're going to bring it back and if Kiefer were to leave, they were thinking Freddie Prinze Jr. would take on the mantle.
We always talked about this, I actually forgot about that. We talked about, there's lots of like mini Junior Jacks.
Yeah.
And one of them was this character played by Freddie Prinze Jr., who, they were thinking about if Kiefer Sutherland didn't want to do a 9th season, they were going to continue 24 with his character. Was it Cole? Cole Ortiz.
Something like that, yeah.
Cole Ortiz.
But it turns out, hated each other.
Whoa. He definitely hated Kiefer Sutherland.
So he said, I did 24. It was terrible. I just wanted to quit the business after that, so I just sort of stopped. Kiefer was the most unprofessional dude in the world. That's not me talking trash. I'd say it to his face. I think everyone that's worked with him has said that. I went and worked for Vince McMahon at the WWE, for Christ's sake. But at least he was cool and tall. I didn't have to take my shoes off to do...
Cool and tall?
I think it's about Vince at this point. I didn't have to take my shoes off to do scenes with him, which they made me do at 24. Just put the guy on an apple box, or don't hire me next time. I'm 6 feet and he's 5'4". She is 5'4". But so essentially, that he's implying that Kiefer had to stand on the box to appear as tall as Freddie Prinze Jr.
Or that he had to take his shoes off.
Or that, rather. So...
So many questions. One, I mean, is Freddie Prinze Jr. seriously claiming that his bad experience on 24 is why he's not working anymore?
Yeah.
It's not.
That's exactly what's happening.
2, when the hell did Freddie Prinze Jr. work with the WWE?
Let's have a look. Well, it says here, Prinze is a fan of WWE and was seen on TV in attendance for several times. His relationship with the company was furthered when he was hired as a member of the creative staff to contribute to weekly TV and pay-per-view programming for the SmackDown brand.
Prinze, his career going from strength to strength.
He made an on-screen appearance as Vince McMahon's doctor, a dream sequence scene that coincided with Lyndon McMahon's attempt to win a seat in the Senate. I don't know what any of that means.
I don't know what any of this means.
But yeah, so apparently,
there you go.
There's the crossover right there.
In the final episode, Jack goes too far.
Yeah.
Like, he just kind of like kills random people and just goes a bit nuts. And I like the idea that he had finally cracked, and it was sort of like, oh, okay, that's not cool. He has gone too far, and that's a nice, because there's always been the debate in 24 about like, he tortures people for information and it's bad and everything, and they kind of finally address that and go, actually, yeah, he is a bad guy and he shouldn't do this. What I liked as well about season 8 was was the finale. I thought actually, or at least the very final ending had a really good ending because Jack is, for the crimes he's committed, he's on the run for various reasons. He's on the run and he's exiled from America. He's exiled from Russia, so he can't go there either. And so I like the idea that at the start of that season, it's sort of like hinting, maybe he can. Kim, his daughter, has got like a kid. He's like, maybe he can retire and be a granddad. And it's like, no, he's not that kind of man. He's denied that, and he has to go on the run forever. And the country he's fought so hard to protect, he's banned from it. And I like that. It's got like the cruel tragedy of it. I really like that. He
just sort of stared into the camera whilst on the phone to Chloe, didn't he?
Yeah, there's a drone filming him, and he has like a nice little farewell to Chloe, who by that point is the head of CTU. And he sort of thanks her for everything, and then goes on the run. And then the clock counts down. Not forward, but 3, 2, 1, 0.
Jack?
Chloe, the president just told me what was happening. She said she was going to give me a little time to try and get out of the country.
I know, I was on the call.
My daughter, her family, they're going to try and use her to get to me.
I'll make sure they're protected.
No, Chloe, you got to promise me. You got to promise me you'll keep them safe.
I'll make sure they're protected. I promise.
How much time do you think I've got?
I don't know. I'll get you as much time as I can.
Chloe.
What?
When you first came to CTU, I never thought it was going to be you that was going to cover my back all those years. And I know that everything that you did today was to try and protect me. I know that. Thank you.
Good luck, Jack. Bring the drone back to the base. Whatever happened here didn't happen. Understand? Shut it down.
Really nice end.
But then they only fools and horsed it up.
It wasn't the end. 24 did come back, of course. With 24 lad, or to give it its proper name, 24 live another day.
Now,
no, right. Let me do the plot. It's set 4 years later. Also came out 4 years after season 8.
I can now tell you where we are if you want. I've worked it out.
All right, let's work out so this was the final entry to date for 24. So let's work out how many years have passed since season 1.
It says on here, on the official 24 Wikia, Live Another Day begins and ends, blah, 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 4 years after day 8.
Yeah.
Which is approximately 18 and a half years after day 1.
So it's 22 years.
So we're talking,
22 years across 24.
Well, no, 18 and a half years.
But you said, what?
So it's 4 years after day 8.
Yeah.
And approximately 18 and a half
and approximately
years.
18 and a half years.
So it's like 2019?
Yeah.
Because it's 2001, the first one?
Yeah, 2019.
So it's 2019 and a half.
But it's
summer 2019.
For me, it's more the idea that Jack has aged 18 years when he clearly hasn't aged 18 years.
So when did this come out?
To 2014. So
it's 5 years in the future. Essentially.
Yeah, that's fine, but Kiefer Sutherland has clearly not aged 18 years. He just hasn't. I mean, he's had Jack's had a tough old time as well. He would have aged badly. Now, in this season, sort of a mini season of only 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Which all these people at someone like, what? We're going to call it 12? But actually it works because it's still got the real time element.
Yeah.
They just, in the final episode, just go and skip like 12 hours.
But it's true, because when you think about it, it's the real-time aspect which is the hook. When you think about it, it's like, it doesn't have to be a day.
No. Well, I mean, it kind of does, because it's 24.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
I've become what I hate. We're going to call it 12, man.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I've fallen at the first hurdle.
But 24 always had that ebb and flow where we kind of, some slow bits in the season. And this did kind of cut out all the boring bits.
Yeah.
And this season, Jack was in London trying to stop an assassination attempt on a president.
Jack Bauer is a traitor and a psychopath who killed 2 Russian diplomats.
Hands behind your head, on your knees.
I know how many lives you've saved, how much the country is in your debt, but they're just gonna see a man who snapped, killing and mutilating with no regard to the law or conscience. A man whose country now labels him a criminal, a terrorist.
After all these years, he surfaces in London the same time as President Heller. We have to consider that he is here to do the president harm.
There's an order coming to have you transferred to Special Activities Division for enhanced interrogation. You better than anyone know what they're going to do to you down there.
Take me to her now. Now! Put the weapon down. You seem smarter than the rest of them, so I'm going to tell you this once. I'm trying to prevent an attack, and you are getting in my way. That was a mistake.
Jack, get in! Bauer!
I intercepted intel framing an assassination attempt on President Heller here in London today. Tracing back to your organization.
It's drones.
They're planning a full-scale attack. This is bigger than President Heller.
My problem with Lad was that even though it was 100% Fox still, wasn't it? It wasn't like a British production.
Yeah.
But because it was filmed in Britain, and I don't know if the cameras were shitter or whatever, but it just felt
I don't know if the cameras were shitter.
It just felt a bit shoddy in terms of most British. Like Doctor Who is shoddy in comparison to what it looks like.
You're clearly pitching that argument to the wrong person.
No, but you know what I mean? Like the way it looks, Doctor Who doesn't look as slick.
It looks cheaper.
It doesn't look as slick. Whereas for some reason Live Another Day did not look as slick as any of the other seasons. I don't know why.
I think it's just because it's in London.
Yeah,
and London doesn't look as nice as LA.
I think that might just be it.
I think that might just be it. I think I like Lad a lot more than you do.
Yeah.
But it does have these moments where Chloe is like, Jack, get on the Northern Line. And he's like, Chloe, I'm in the pub. And it's like, no, Jack Bauer can't say pub. It's like,
I'm at Marble Arch.
But of course, again, it starts with Jack because he's meant to be on the run. And it starts with him and he's on the run. And like we talked about Bourne earlier.
Yeah.
It starts exactly like every single Bourne movie where there's some government agents standing around with their hips, hands on their hips, and they spot Jack up on the screen. They're like, oh my God, it's Bauer. Get Bauer. Every single Bourne movie starts in the exact same way.
Get Bourne. Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne.
Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne. Are you not? Why are you still surprised? It's been like every single film you go, oh my God, Bourne's still out there. Of course he is. Bourne's definitely gone this time. Gone for good. Are you sure? Sure. But because it was filmed in London, this was great because I got to meet Kiefer Sutherland and Marilyn Reichkub. It was absolutely fantastic.
As soon as the show finished, there were rumours that it would be coming back. Did you ever really say goodbye to Jack?
I thought for about a year or two that we would make the film, maybe. But for a variety of reasons, all of which I don't know, that never transpired. So I think at that point, it was over for me. I was very surprised. In fact, when I called Howard Gordon, I was calling him to congratulate him on the Golden Globe win for Homeland. And he said, oh, I'm really glad you called. I want to talk to you about something. We talked about the idea and it took about 15 minutes to say yes. And then for the next 4 months, I was like, oh my God, why did I do that? Because we were proud of those 8 seasons. And every time you open that up again, you run the risk of damaging the legacy of the show.
Now that the show has been revived, do you think there could be more episodes after Live Another Day?
I would be shocked if they didn't make more, just based on what I've been hearing about how these have turned out and people's excitement level. I would be surprised if they went through all the trouble to bring it back and make these 12, and then that would be it. So I think so.
When we finished the 8th season, I would have told you that we were not going to do another. So I think I'm going to just have to not say anything in that. There's potential for anything.
But actually, that wasn't the first time I met Marilyn Reichkub. Did I ever tell you about the time or the night I spent in a hotel room with Marilyn Reichkub in 2011?
Just two of you.
It's not as weird as it sounds, although it does involve a webcam. So there was a thing where there was like a big event to mark the launch of 24 Season 8 coming out on DVD. Marion Reichkup was supposed to do a sort of web chat with fans, but also on a webcam so they could see her and that kind of thing, see her responses. And I was, for some reason, like drafted in to help with this. But the people who had organised it, I don't know if they'd just done a really shoddy job or if there was a technical error, but basically, we were in a hotel room with Marion Reichkup, who was supposed to be answering fan questions, except there were no fan questions. What? And I don't know if they just didn't advertise it, or if just, as I say, there was a technical error and the questions weren't coming through, but then we all had to secretly get on our mobiles, log on under fake names.
Did she not know?
No, stood behind her, pretending
oh my Lord,
we were fans,
that's ridiculous.
Sending in questions for her just to maintain appearances, and because no one wanted to admit, because it was so embarrassing that they had like pulled her in for this big event and no one was there. Luckily later on there was a bigger fan event and loads of fans turned up and it was all fine.
That's depressing.
That was
almost as bad as the pub quiz we did recently. Hey?
Yeah. Now I know you're not as big a fan as we said of Lad as I am. But you got to admit, it did have its good points.
Well,
the return of Chen, one of my favourite villains. He came back to haunt Jack. Tate Donovan, who we sort of weirdly love from the OC and Friends, and then he had Damages, and the other
Fry as
I forgot Stephen Fry was in it.
Prime Minister.
As the Prime Minister of Great Britain. But forget your Stephen Frys, forget your Tate Donovans. There was one man. Forget Kiefer Sutherland. I guess he's basically
he's a Parliament member,
a glorified extra. Yeah, he's got one line, and it is not only the finest line in 24 Live Another Day, possibly the greatest line in 24 TV history, where, so there's been a terrorist attack, this time on British soil. President Heller, he's about to address the British press or the British Parliament and sort of give a speech, and the British blame him for the terrorist attack, and he starts to speak, and he's rudely interrupted by this guy, John Cummings.
President Heller would like to offer some words. The President of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you going to do about today's incident?
What are you going to do about today's incident? And it's everything about the delivery of the line.
What? It's the what?
It's the sheer visceral venom of what are you going to do? And then when he says
it's so annoying.
When he says incident, he kind of like
sort of cries a bit.
He sort of cries a little bit, and his chin wobbles, and he's just like, and he sort of looks a bit like really grievously offended. What are you going to do about today's incident?
And, I should point out that my sister actually knows John from way back, by complete coincidence.
By complete fluke.
We worship this guy for ages.
We were weirdly obsessed with this guy, John Cummings, who, John, I hope one day you can listen to this. We mean this all with love.
We've got a mug with your face on it and the quote on the back. What are you going to do about today's incident?
We had a mug made of your face. You probably think we're really weird now. Everyone probably thinks we're really weird now. We were weirdly obsessed with this guy on that line.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you going to do about today's incident?
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you going to do about today's incident?
I wish there were words.
What are you going to do about today's incident?
I wish.
What are you going to do about today's incident?
I wish.
What are you going to do about today's incident?
So, Live Another Day was supposed again to be the end for 24. But obviously, I assume it made quite a bit of money. It did pretty well for Fox. Kiefer Sutherland had ruled out ever playing Jack again. He said, no, maybe I'll do the film. But he said he'll never play Jack in a series again. So they just went, oh, well, Jack Bauer, the guy's been the lead for 8 seasons and a TV movie. And blah, blah, blah.
The main reason people keep coming back.
The main reason, well, I mean, Kiefer has said himself, he says he's not the star of 24.
You are, mate.
The real-time element is.
Nah, it's you.
But no.
It's Jack Bauer.
Yeah. No. The thing is, like, you could 24 without those gimmicks it wouldn't be as good. But
Yeah.
Jack is such a fascinating central character. It's really, you keep coming back for Jack. You do.
So now what do we have?
So now they're making, it is a spin-off. So this is the thing, it doesn't really taint 24 in any real way. You can kind of...
But it's in the same universe?
I was in the same universe, but it's not part of the flagship series.
Right.
This is 24 Legacy, which is going to launch on Fox next year after the Super Bowl. So they're obviously very confident in it. It's got a great slot, pretty much the best slot you can get on American television.
Yeah, I'm a bit wary, to be honest.
It looks alright.
I just don't think people will care. It'll just get cancelled after one season.
It could be a Heroes Reborn,
Yeah,
where everyone's really excited, and then turns out no one
Yeah.
actually wanted Heroes to come back. They just thought they did.
And I've got nothing against the guy playing the main character, but I was really hoping that they would just... I think for 24, and for people to still be interested in 24, I think you just need to have the main guy to be, if you can't get Jack, to have a known person as the lead.
Yeah.
Male or female.
Yeah,
There needs to
you
be
need some sort of star appeal.
Some oomph about them, and I like the idea of it being an older guy, sort of Jack's age, but
Well, 24 Legacy is going to follow this new guy. He's a war hero called Eric Carter, played by Corey Hawkins, who you probably won't remember from playing Heath on The Walking Dead. Perfectly serviceable performance, but not exactly a standout character.
I mean, I can't say because I haven't seen it yet, but I just it doesn't. Nah.
I think it could be perfectly adequate.
Yeah, I just don't think people will care enough.
But I just don't. Jack didn't. What annoys me about it, I was talking about Day 8 and how that had a really solid ending for Jack. Live Another Day didn't really have a proper ending for Jack. He ends up captured by the Russians this time and end up in a Russian jail. And he has a nice sort of farewell with Chloe, and he says, "Oh, you're my best friend," and that kind of thing. But the character doesn't really have any proper resolution. If anything, they had a good ending, and then they kind of undid it to do Live Another Day. And now he's just kind of, you can't just leave Jack on a cliffhanger.
Well, much like his show Touch, when that didn't work, he came back to 24.
Yeah.
If Designated Survivor doesn't work, he'll come back to 24.
Well, this is the thing. So Kiefer instead is doing this new show, Designated Survivor,
I actually quite like
which is apparently pretty
Pilot's
good.
really
It's
good.
on ABC in America, Netflix in the UK, and it's basically Jack Bauer as president, right?
Yeah.
I've not seen it, but the thing is, if Kiefer does ever come back to 24, he's 49 now. Like, he's getting dangerously close to Expendables territory.
Yeah.
If they're going to wrap up Jack's storyline, which I think they need to do, but you can understand. From his part, he said Live Another Day was meant to be the final chapter. It was pitched to me as that, and we can't keep making the final chapter. You kind of
One last ride.
It's like we'll end up like the Fast and Furious movies. One last ride. This time, it's not just about being fast. Every single movie.
Well, that's pretty much everything.
I'm
for 24.
I'm exhausted. I'm sweaty. I'm a nervous wreck. We have definitely broken down all of 24. I think as thoroughly as we possibly can.
So if you have seen all of 24, then I hope all that was accurate.
And intelligible. Probably not.
If you haven't, then you don't need to watch it now.
Because we've ruined it for you. And it definitely wouldn't have been intelligible. That would have been God knows how long of absolute nonsense. So thanks for listening.
Yeah. Cheers for that.
If you want to hear more nonsense, you can, slightly sozzled nonsense, you can check out all 23 of our previous episodes and our podlets, little mini podcasts that we also sometimes do, on 2geeks2beers.com, also on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, and you can follow us or message us on Facebook and Twitter. They're both at 2geekscast. Or you can email us at podcast@2geeks2beers.com.
Yes, please suggest themes for episodes or things you'd like to see us cover. Beers.
I don't think we'll do a agent espionage episode for a while. We're 2 in a row.
We're espionaged out.
Yeah.
Espionaged.
So, what we're going to end the show with?
So, to play us out this time in grand fashion is the orchestral version of Sean Callery's 24 theme, the much utilised 24 theme. So enjoy, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks very much.
And see you next time. Cheers.
damn it.